welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do something a little bit differently. I wanted to do a story time because today is actually my 1 year myomectoversary. I made that word up. It's actually the 1 year anniversary of my myomectomy when I had my fibroids removed. And I wanted to share my experience with you guys as it relates to having the fibroids, having the surgery, and how my life has changed since I had my fibroids removed. So fibroids affect so many women, especially minority women, and unfortunately a lot of women don't even know they have fibroids. So I just wanted to just tell you guys a little bit about my experience, and I hope that you guys find this video to be useful. And let's get right into it, okay? I found out that I had my fibroids back in 2010, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I had a pain that I had never felt in my whole life. It was like a pain in my stomach, almost like an intense cramping, but it lasted for 2 days straight. And so I usually don't take any pain medications or anything like that. I try to do the whole natural healing thing, but I was just in so much pain for 2 days. I decided to go to the emergency room and see what was going on. So I went to the emergency room. They did all of these different scans. They took blood, they did ultrasounds, and that's when they told me I had fibroids. I remember just being so scared because it was like, what are these things? Where do they come from? Why are they growing in me? What are they going to do? Like, I had so many questions. I just had no idea. So of course, me being who I am, I went and did my research. So I started looking online, asking around, and that's when I found out they're not really, they don't really cause any damage or any harm. They're just really uncomfortable. They can cause your cycles to be very heavy. They can cause you to be in a lot of pain. And so my doctor pretty much said, as long as they're not bothering me or doing any damage, then I can just leave them alone. So over the course of a couple years, I just had the doctor check with the ultrasound to see how big they were, to make sure they weren't growing too big, make sure they weren't causing any issues, because now I'm a married woman and I'm trying to have a baby, so I'm trying to make sure these fibroids were not in the way of anything. And so I did that over a few years, but the fibroids continued to grow and multiply. So I started off with just a few smaller ones, and I ended up having like 13 by the time I got my fibroids removed. And so my experience with the fibroids were that my cycles were really long, my periods were really heavy and very, very painful. I mean, I would be in so much pain every month to the point where I would just lay on the bed in a fetal position. Sometimes I would have to call into work if I was working, or I would just be in so much pain and just have so much heavy bleeding that it was just like, but I had dealt with that for so long that I thought that that was normal and that was just what a period was. So I just kind of accepted it. But over the course of a couple years, I just kept having the ultrasounds done and found out that they were getting so big. The fibroids were so big that they were pushing on my uterus to the point where my uterus was swelling up to the size of a 20-week pregnancy uterus. So my stomach was really big and bloated. People would ask me if I was pregnant. It was so embarrassing because I'm a small girl. So for my stomach to be that big, it was very noticeable. It was very painful. It was very heavy. So I just was like, you know what, I need to do something about this. And so last year, when we really got serious about trying to conceive, we didn't really know if the fibroids were causing any issues because all of them were located on my uterine wall. So they weren't like in the uterine cavity or anything, but they were just causing so many issues with my periods and everything. And I wanted to make sure if I did get pregnant that they wouldn't cause any problems with my pregnancy. So I decided to get them removed last year. So for my surgery, I remember being so scared because I've never gotten put to sleep before. So I went under anesthesia. I don't know what happened in the surgery room, but apparently they cut me open from pretty much my navel all the way down. I woke up in a lot of pain, a little bit confused. I had no idea what was going on. But so when I woke up, I just remember being in a lot of pain. I had a catheter in. I couldn't get up. I couldn't walk. It was just really, it was a difficult experience. And I know you guys are probably wondering, why is she telling us all this? Why is she trying to scare me? But I have to keep it real with you guys, right? So I was in the hospital for 2 days, and then they actually had me stay an additional day just because I was having a hard time. I was having a hard time breathing. I couldn't really get up and walk. I was just out of it. Like, I felt like I wasn't recovering the way I was supposed to be recovering. So I stayed in the hospital an additional day. I needed a lot of help from the nurses just to get up and walk, just to go to the bathroom. It was definitely a difficult experience, and one of the most difficult things that I've ever been through before. So I finally got out the hospital. I went home. I slept on the couch because I just didn't want to walk up the stairs and sleep in the bed. And I just remember being in so much pain. I took a lot of pain medications. I slept a lot. My stomach, I couldn't get my incision wet, so I had to take a shower, like standing with the water behind me. And it was just a difficult situation. Even just trying to walk just a couple of feet, I was tired. I had to turn around. I was walking slow. So it was just really difficult. But as the weeks went on, I got a little bit stronger every day. It took me pretty much the whole 6 weeks to recover fully, where I felt back to myself again, where my stomach was back flat, like it wasn't all bloated and stuff. And so I started learning not to take things for granted when I went through this situation. Even getting up to go to the bathroom was like a task. And so after that whole, my whole surgery experience, I started learning to be grateful for everything. Like, oh, I can get up and walk fast. I can get up and go to the bathroom on my own. And so that's really what that whole experience taught me. And so I recovered fully. I took it easy. I didn't want to do too much, but I did at least try to walk. And I wasn't working at that time, so there was no rush for me to really recover quickly, but we were preparing to relocate to Arizona during that time. So I needed to get better. I needed to get stronger so that I could pack and so that we could move. So 6 weeks passed. I was doing great. I was fully recovered. I started doing a little bit more exercise and trying to get back in shape and everything. So overall, the experience sucked, obviously, but I'm so happy that I got my fibroids removed, because now my cycles are normal. My period is so much easier. There's not a heavy flow. There's not a lot of pain. I don't have a lot of cramping. My stomach is back flat because my uterus isn't big anymore. And so I'm just really happy I had the surgery done. Looking back, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would, just knowing that the recovery is going to be hard, but the results are going to be amazing. And so I'm excited that I got my fibroids removed 1 year ago today. Just thinking back, it was just such a scary experience. But if you guys have fibroids, if you're thinking about getting them removed, talk to your doctor. I would highly recommend that you do, because they can just cause so many issues, and your life will be so much better without them. Of course, I'm not a medical professional, but that's just my experience. And I hope you guys found this video to be useful. It took me so long to be comfortable enough to talk about having my surgery, and so I finally felt comfortable enough, hoping that it could help someone who may be in a position where they have fibroids. They found out they have fibroids and they're not sure what to do. So hopefully this video was helpful to you guys. So I was trying to figure out if I wanted to show you guys a picture of my fibroids, but then I'm like, well, they didn't already see my uterus and my ovary, so what's the difference, right? So I might be taking this transparency thing a little bit too far, but you know what? I don't even care. I'm gonna show y'all a picture of my fibroids. So if you have a weak stomach and you don't want to see the fibroids, you might want to stop the video right now. I don't know. I'm that kind of person. I like to see stuff like that. Like, I remember I was on the internet looking like, what's the biggest fibroid? I want to see all of them. So that's just the kind of person I am. But I know some people they can't stomach that kind of stuff. So if you're that kind of person, stop the video now. Don't say I didn't warn you. And here's a picture of my fibroids.